Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited today because today I'm actually doing a brand new foundation review, my very first of the year, and it's going to be the Makeup Forever HD Skin Hydra Glow Foundation. This foundation on paper sounds like it ticks every single box. It sounds like it was made just for me. I've just received this, so it's going to be a first impressions, but then I am going to do a 2-day wear test and I'm going to take you out in the daylight so you can actually see what it looks like without any lighting. I really have high hopes for this, so shall we just get it on? So I have this foundation in the shade 1N14, which is a neutral shade. Now, when I actually ordered this foundation, it was on launch day, and at the time they only had 16 shades on the UK Sephora site, but on every other site that you can purchase this, they actually have now 36 shades. So when I was choosing a shade for myself, I had a look at what I thought I might be, and then I actually did the shade finder online. It was initially trying to push me towards a more yellow based foundation, I think because I do have olive skin, but from what I've heard about Makeup Forever foundations, they do, well, some of the shades can lean a little bit yellow. So I picked up the 1N14. I'm really hoping that this is going to be a decent shade match for me. It could be a little bit yellow, but we'll see. We'll make it work anyway. So obviously this is a version of their original HD Skin foundation. The original has a natural matte finish, which is why I've never reached for the Makeup Forever foundation. I've never really been interested because I don't really like matte foundations, and the original gives a medium to full coverage. Now, this Hydra Glow actually claims to give a natural luminous finish with light to medium coverage. So the foundation contains 86% skincare based ingredients, as we are seeing now more and more in all of the products that are being released recently. And it claims to mimic the hydrating effect of a sheet mask by combining makeup and skincare. So it contains hyaluronic acid, it works to smooth, plump and hydrate over time. And this sentence here, which is what really attracted me, which was, this foundation is ideal for normal, dry, mature and sensitive skin types. Now, I don't have sensitive skin, but I definitely have mature skin. I'm 41 years old. I definitely have normal to dry skin. I can't see anything on here about oily skin, so I don't know whether that's an insinuation that this isn't for you if you have oily skin, but let's put it on and let's see how glowy and luminous it is. It provides 24 hours of hydration and glow with a natural luminous finish, and it claims to look like skin but better for a flawless radiant complexion. So we'll give it a good shake before we put it on, because usually if something has skincare ingredients in, it will need a bit of a shake. It does say to apply this with your fingers, but I'm not going to do that, no, because I don't like applying things with my fingers. I'm going to stick with my favorite foundation brush, and this is the BK Beauty 101. I don't really like using sponges. I'm not opposed to them, but I definitely wouldn't use a sponge with something that is supposed to be as lightweight as this, because I think that the sponge would probably just drink it up. I have nothing else on my face at the moment, apart from moisturizer, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream, which is what I would always use anyway. I like to test foundations without a primer just to see how it works with my normal base, with my normal moisturizer. So let's have a look at this on the back of the hand. So this is 1N14, as you can see, a very, very fluid foundation. Very fluid, which for me is great. It does look a little bit yellow, but I don't have any massive concerns at the moment. I'll tell you what, let's do one half. We'll see how we go. I can tell that it is really light. Does it smell? It does have a slight fragrance. I think that's the skincare. It smells really nice, actually. I have spoken about skincare foundations on this channel before, and I really do like them generally. So for example, the Glossier foundation, 86% skincare ingredients again, but the fragrance from it, not great. But this is actually a really nice kind of fresh smell, but it's not. You kind of have to search for the smell, if that makes sense. It's not overpowering. It's not really obvious. And I'm just going to build it up. I actually think the shade match is pretty perfect. I will be taking you out in the daylight anyway, but I've just turned the light down a little bit. And I've not brought it under my eyes because I don't use foundation under my eyes. This is the side with, and this is without. So you can see that it is very luminous. I love that. Usually if foundation is going to be a bit icky on me, I can tell, see if it sits around kind of smile lines or around my nose where I do have a little bit of texture sometimes, or on my chin. That's looking really good. Let's pop it on the rest of the face. So I used one pump on that side of my face because I wanted to build it up. So again, I will pop my skin information on the screen, but I have light to medium olive skin with very muted warm undertones. So I tend to prefer neutral foundations. Oh my gosh, I love the look of this. Ooh, this is very luminous, which is right up my alley. But if you prefer matte foundations, look, you're not gonna like this. I can tell you already, you're not going to like this. Okay, you can see the glow, right? Wow. Okay, this is really pretty. I really like the look of that. I think that is gorgeous. And it feels like nothing on the skin. It feels like it is skincare. It really does. I think the claims are very similar to the Glossier foundation, but the Glossier foundation is a much thicker and substantial formula than this, and it definitely requires more blending than what this does. This literally just blended out like a dream, and the finish I feel is a lot more luminous. I think you can see that it has evened out my skin tone quite a lot. Now I have a blemish here at the minute, and I have like thread veins on my nose, which it's not covered, but I wouldn't say that it would cover it, and it allowed me to build up the coverage. Shall we build it up a little bit more and see what happens? So I'm just going to go in with half a pump and just put a bit more around this area. It's a super lightweight foundation. Just push that into the skin. I was really worried about the shade. It's a perfect shade. It really is. And it's not as yellow as what I thought it would be. Good thing about this foundation, it actually comes in 2 sizes. So it comes in the 30ml, which is the one that I picked up. But it actually comes in a 12ml as well. I'm going to turn these lights down again. Like I said, I will take you outside to look in the daylight. But here it is. It's not sitting into any of my fine lines. Yeah, it's not settled anywhere. It's not looking heavy. It says that it looks like skin. I guess, yeah, it does look like skin, but I think around this area, you can tell that you have makeup on. I think on the rest of the face, it does look really natural and skin-like. It feels hydrating. It feels really smooth. It just feels like you've put skincare on. It feels like a skin tint, but it's definitely given more coverage than what a skin tint would. So we're going to let it sit for a while. I'm going to go off and I'm going to pop a bit of makeup on over the top, see how it sits, see how the makeup sits over it, and I'll be back with some further thoughts. So I'm back and the makeup is on. I didn't go too crazy. I just popped a little bit of bronzer on, a little bit of blush. As always, I will list everything that I've used today on my face down in the description box below. So my first impressions are really good. There's been no oxidization. There's been nothing settling into any lines. The only thing I will say is I am feeling like I need to powder. But I'm not going to powder. I am going to leave the powder until tomorrow. I want to do a wear test with no powder on the actual foundation. The only place I'm going to powder is underneath my eyes, which is what I always do. But I wanted you to see me doing that. So I'm just going to take my Huda Beauty Easy Bake in the shade Pound Cake, and I'm just going to pop it underneath my eyes. I don't want to powder my face. I am feeling the need to powder around my nose area, kind of around this area. I'm not really a massively oily person. Obviously I have oils in my skin, natural oils, and they do become visible around my nose. Usually I like to powder here, but I'm going to leave it today. Can you see it's looking a little bit shiny around there? I'm gonna leave it. I'm not going to give in. I'm going to leave it, and I'm gonna see how it performs today and see how it looks at the end of the day and in daylight in a few hours. So just powdering underneath the eyes. Just the concealer. It looks really good. It looks healthy. It looks like skin. It is more on the shiny side than what I'm used to. So just for reference, my favorite foundations would be the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation is definitely one of my favorites, the House Labs. They have a similar finish, a similar luminous finish, but I'd say the Nars Light Reflecting does powder down. This hasn't powdered down. This is giving me glassy skin. See? It's very glassy, isn't it? I don't mind that, but I think, you know, if you do get those natural oils coming through, you are going to feel the need to powder, because I really feel that need at the moment. But because I'm doing 2 days, I'm going to give it a wear with no powder today, and then tomorrow I will probably give it a little powder and see how it goes. So let's give it a full day wear test today. I will then pop out during the day so you can see it in natural daylight, and then I will also be back at the end of the day to see how it's worn across the full day. I will be back later on with a little bit of an update, so I'll see you then. Hey guys, so I'm just here for my daylight check-in, just in the car on the way to the school run. I've had the foundation on for about 4 hours now, so just to bring you in, just to look at my skin up close. So this is how we're looking. I guess it has changed a little bit since I put it on. It's definitely become a little bit more glassy, a little bit more luminous, and that is just my natural facial oils coming through. Now, I'm trying to be really fair here because I didn't powder. So today is the no powder day. Tomorrow I'm going to come back and I will powder, and I want to see if it looks better, because I do feel that need to go and get some powder on my face. I actually do really like this. This is a type of foundation that I do like. My husband was like, oh my gosh, your makeup looks so nice today. And I just said to him, do I look really shiny to you? And he said, no, it looks lovely. So I don't know. I think that there are a lot of people out there that would not stand for this level of shiny. I like shiny, but then I'm thinking, what if it was a really hot day today? And it's not. It's freezing. What if I was really, really sweaty? How would it look then? But we're going to give it a chance. But my first thoughts on people with oily skin, I don't know if you would like this. But my skin feels lovely. It feels like skin. It feels hydrated. It's ticking all the boxes apart from a little bit of excessive shine. But being fair, I didn't powder, and I normally would powder my nose. So I'll be back later on this evening, not in daylight, but it will have to be studio light because there will be no light left. And I'll be back with my final thoughts of the whole wear test. So yeah, I'll see you then. So I'm back for my final check-in of day 1. And I'm now in artificial lighting, so if that's why it looks different to before, it's because there's no daylight now, so I'm having to use the lights that I have. So obviously today is the end of day 1, and it was a no powder day, and I think we can tell by looking at my face that I have not used powder. So just bringing you in, this is after 9 hours. So I was honestly partway through the day, I thought, oh, this is not going to last on my face. But after 9 hours of wear, I think that's pretty good. I really, really do. Obviously, if you have a look at, particularly around my nose and my T-zone, I am looking quite shiny. I don't feel like my oils have made me greasy, but I do feel like the foundation has become more shiny than I'm used to. when using a foundation. I'm very much looking forward to trying it with powder tomorrow, so I will be back tomorrow to powder the foundation down a little bit. We're not going overboard because I still have mature skin, you know, that mature skin is still there, the fine lines are still there. I'm going to powder the T-zone and then we're going to see how it wears tomorrow, so I'm very much looking forward to that. All right, thanks for joining me for day one. I will see you tomorrow. Hey everyone, so it's day 2 now and I've had the foundation on, I'd say for about 4.5 hours now, and I'm just come to some daylight in the house, but just wanted to show you I did use a really minimal amount of powder, and I used some here and I used some just here around my nose. That's it. I didn't bring any on my cheeks or my face or anywhere, and I'm actually really happy with it. And to be honest, I was really happy with how it looked at the end of yesterday. It looked great, it really did, but I did have that urge all day to powder, which is really unlike me. But if I just bring you up close, guys, I love this foundation. I think it's super stunning. I have a lot of makeup, but I was so excited to put this on at 6 o'clock this morning. I was so excited. I really, really like it. I am so happy with this, but I'll be back later on this afternoon for a really quick summary of my final thoughts. And yeah, I'm very excited about this, as you can tell. So I'll be back later on for my absolute final thoughts on this. And yeah, I'll see you then. So here we are at the end of the 2-day wear test, and if you've come this far, please do consider subscribing to the channel because I do post videos like this on a weekly basis. So I do have some thoughts on this foundation and whether I think it is worth your money. I am going to speak from my point of view and from my personal preference. So my personal preference is a glowy, luminous, dewy, bright, radiant foundation. That's what I love, that's what I yearn for, because I've just found that entering my 40s, my skin, although it's not dry per se, it's definitely become more dehydrated, and this really does give it the injection of hydration that it needs and wants. The name says it all, Hydra Glow. So 2 things. My skin has felt super hydrated. It's actually felt quite plump when I've been wearing it, and I can only imagine that the reason for this is the hyaluronic acid that is within this foundation, and also the glow. I don't think I've ever felt as glowy and as healthy as I have when wearing this foundation. And the amazing thing about this foundation is it doesn't feel like you're really wearing anything. It's so skin-like, it's such a natural finish. And I do think that you can see your natural skin through this foundation. It says it's light to medium buildable coverage. I would say it's kind of on the lower end of medium. I have built this up quite a bit, and still it's not really giving me a ton of coverage. It's given me a decent amount of coverage, a coverage that I generally would like on a day-to-day basis. However, I think if I was having a day where my skin wasn't looking so great, if I was having breakouts, you know, those days where you just feel like you need a little bit of extra coverage, I don't think I would reach for this. But on a day-to-day basis, this is going to be my number one. For sure. I just love how natural this is. Natural but glowy. And although it did get a little bit shinier, especially yesterday when I didn't powder my T-zone, it still didn't look greasy. Nobody would look at me and go, oh my gosh, why is she so sweaty? I don't think anybody would say that. If I wanted to use this on a night out, or if I needed a bit more longevity, or if it was a hot day, or if I was doing something that required a little bit more exertion, I would probably use a primer underneath. So maybe something that's a little bit less luminous than the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. The Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream I know is quite dewy on some people. It's not super dewy on me, it's just a normal moisturizer. But if I did feel like I needed a little bit more skin prep, I would probably go for more of a mattifying primer. And I think that if you feel like you are not really oily, but somewhere in between, maybe think about the primer that you used beforehand, because I think something that will be a bit more mattifying will help with this foundation and stop it kind of getting too shiny. So just going back to a sentence that I pulled from the website and highlighted that it was made for normal, dry, mature and sensitive skin. I would totally agree with all of those things. But it doesn't mention anything about oily. And I really would be on the fence with this. I don't know if you have excessively oily skin. I'm really unsure as to whether this would be for you. Obviously, you know your skin best. You know whether if you prep your skin, it will help with a foundation like this. But I think if you are excessively oily, I would probably consider giving this a miss. I'm not sure it would be for you, because even though I'm not an excessively oily person, it did get a little bit shiny in the T-zone. So, and mine is normal to dry. So that is just worth thinking about. That doesn't mean that you can't try this if you have oily skin. I'm sure that there are mattifying primers out there that would really help with keeping the oils at bay. So I think in summary, for me, someone who loves the glow, who wants, you know, that super hydrated and plump skin, this is perfection as it claims. If you have dry skin, if you have mature skin, I think you will absolutely love this. But you have to love the glow. That is imperative. Obviously, we still need to test it in the heat, and we need to, you know, really exert ourselves to test how good this foundation really is. But on a day-to-day basis, this is going to be my #1 foundation. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. So do let me know if you are planning on picking this up, or if you have picked this up already. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining me for this review. I really appreciate you being here with me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next one. But until then, take care and bye for now.